Hi, hello, welcome to this edition of Market Analysis, the pre-market. For today, August the 15th, I'm Giovanni Benacour, educator and trader with Vantage Markets. Well, the markets sure have started with a move to the downside. The US is on a predictable path of rising interest rates as inflation appears to have peaked, but in China, it's a different story. The surprise cut to two key Chinese interest rates and fresh funds pumped into the financial system to boost lending came after a slew of grim data. China's economic activity is slowing across the board, from factory output to consumer spending and real estate. A zero tolerance approach to COVID 19 that severely disrupted the cities of Shanghai and Wuhan continues, with fresh lockdowns designed to halt the spread of the Omicron variant. Meanwhile, homebuyers are withholding mortgage payments amid fears that distressed developers won't be able to deliver their properties as a housing bubble deflates. And a record 1 in 5 Chinese youth are out of work. So Chinese retail sales will worry U.S. exporters, which they grew by 2.7% in July, almost half of what was forecasted. Despite trade tariffs and saber rattling over the future of Taiwan, U.S. good exports to China hit an all-time high of 149 billion last year, adding services, and the total reaches 186 billion. Whether U.S. spending can pick up some of the slack from muted Chinese demand remains to be seen. The U.S. consumer is in focus this week, with earnings reports due from Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, and Walmart, whose warning last month flagged that low-income families were struggling to get by. So Chinese leaders have backed away from this year's 5.5 growth target, and the International Monetary Fund forecasts a 3.3%, which will be the lowest level for more than 40 years outside of the pandemic. If China economic miracle is over, the US will feel it too. And I think that is what the markets are telling us this morning. Since we had a close on Friday, an uptrend, a high close on Monday, and today we are opening up with a gap down on the Nasdaq. So therefore, our theory, our technical analysis theory, that if we have depending on how we close on Friday and depending on how we open on Monday, will determine the fluctuation or the direction for the week. So with Friday we had an up day, we closed on a high note, but Monday we are closing on a gap down. That will encourage that some retracement, some correlation, correction on the markets might be in play, at least for today, as when markets open. We still have about 45 minutes from the bell, but from here until then, depending on how we open, can mark or can show us that direction for the market this week. So far, the RSI for the Nasdaq is right below the overbought scenario. Should we linger back into it, above it? That's yet to be seen. Should we see a sell-off start when the market opens because of the China's worries, of the Chinese authorities having those two key interest rates cuts? So that could probably overlap into the American markets, and that's what we're seeing so far. As same as in the S&P 500, we are opening right now. We're seeing that we have opened a gap down as well on the S&P 500. Now that we have our psychological resistance at 4,300, our support at 4,100. Our pivot point is right around with the 200-day moving average. So that is creating another support. Let's see. Crude oil has really opened on a gap down. Should we see that continuation? $86 is our support level, psychological support level, but I painted it 84. I'm predicting, or I'm shooting for a continuation of this lower movement to the downside to 84. So let's see if that will happen today. Should we come down to 84, find some support here, and then bring us back up to 86? Now is the support. As we break it, will become a resistance. So, be worried about that, as well as the natural gas. Natural gas has opened up also with another gap down. Uh, you know, this this candle closed here, and this one closed opened up right at 86, 8.66. So that gap has been closed. However, the continuation of a lower leg could be what we are seeing for today. Here we have gold. Gold has also opened up on a gap down. It has already closed that gap. So therefore, could we see some support for gold right around $1,780? That should be something that we're gonna have to see. Our pivot point is acting as a support resistance right now around that level. Here we have silver. Silver is also retracing from higher movements. We have here that our support at $20. So let me make this support $20. Okay, it's $20 right here. Yep. So that's our support. Our pivot is acting also as a support. Market is looking to push, make that lower leg. RSI sure is reaching that 50 mark. Should we cross it, we could continue to see if it comes down to our level or oversold. But so right now I'm looking at selling silver. Okay, copper really opened up on a nice big gap down as well, finding support right around 353, our pivot point. Should we continue to have that move higher, 360 will be our first target to be reached if we are going to be seeing any continuation of this previous movement. Here we have BTC. BTC hit 25,000. That's where I'm having it. Though from here, it's retracing. 24,000 was our psychological level, which is right now is lingering around that level. Our pivot is at 23,580. So should this movement continue lower, we will probably see coming down to our pivot. From here, breaking our pivot, 23,000 will be our next support level, psychological level. Here we have the euro. Euro also opened up on a gap down. One parity. That's what we've seen euro to probably come down to. Obviously, 102 is our support psychological level. Is the market is right there. Could we see another days of this movement, previous move of ranging, consolidation, accumulation period, however you want to call it, around our pivot? That could probably be seen for the rest of the week. So let's take a look at what the dollar index is doing, in which the dollar index has opened up with a gap up. So gap up for the dollar index, meaning that they're coming in to sustain the value of the dollars to be strong above 105. So that's obviously those are tricky levels. One thing that I want to come back and talk to you about crude oil will be that nuclear deal of Iran that is still yet to be approved by the Ayatollah and President Biden. If those both of them sign this deal, this accord, then the obviously Iran will be online to supply the markets with their crude oil, and so therefore a big influence of crude oil coming into, which I think that's what's going to happen. Saudi Arabia, the OPEC Plus, they came in and said, okay, yeah, we'll increment 100,000 barrels next month, because they already understood and they already knew that the deal between U.S. and Iran, the nuclear deal, will happen. So that if they're saying, okay, the Saudi Arabia is saying that we're not gonna up our production of crude oil as much as President Biden wanted to, saying okay, 100,000 will be enough. Where the Saudi are saying that the demand will decrease, but then Then we have the International Energy Agency saying nope. Actually, demand will increment. So there's forces, tug of war of forces saying one thing and no one saying another. So anyhow, the International Energy Agency is saying that the demand will increment by 360,000, 380,000 barrels per day, while the OPEC saying that Saudis saying nope, the demand will be more likely around the 260,000 barrels. So anyhow, all of this news, all of this uh, in this difference of opinions, I just think that the deal will come through, and we'll hear about that deal coming in online. So therefore, we will probably see a decrease in value of crude oil. $80 could be the consensus to come once the deal hit the news and all. I believe price action. The market is discounting that already with this movement. So anyway, keep that in mind. Fine, I am selling crude oil today. That this gap down, whether they come to close it or halfway, it could be one of those opportunities for you to come in and sell it. If it does comes up towards the $90 level, or 88, 89. So be worried about data about those values. But yeah, natural gas and crude oil to the downside, selling it, as well as silver today. All right. Well, this is it for the market analysis pre-market. I will see you guys again at the end of the day when the market has closed, so we can come over and take a look at our levels. I also want to invite you to my webinar coming up on the 24th. That'll be next week. I'm going to be talking about the Fibonacci retracement tool and a lot of the Japanese candlesticks chart patterns, so we can obviously use them. All right. This is Giovanni Benacourt, and I will see you at the end of the day. Thank you for watching. Bye now. Happy trading.